It's time for the Las Vegas Sportsline. Brought to you by Caesars Entertainment, where every guest is treated like Caesar and every visit is unforgettable.
And here we go, the big Wednesday edition of the show. It is our Caesars Entertainment Wednesday, and that means Teddy Covers is in the house with me, Dave Koken. Jared Justice is producing the show today, and you can find him on Twitter at @_Junkyard. Jeff Davis, director of trading for Caesars Entertainment, is with us, and we're just not going to wait on this. Big news coming down yesterday, Jeff, regarding ESPN tying in with Caesars, a new studio going up at the Link. I mean, this is going to be exciting stuff.
Sure is, Dave. Looking forward to this new studio at the Link, scheduled to be built and ready some point in 2020. ESPN's looking to use it to do some segments for Sports Center, possibly tape some episodes of the Daily Wager there. Caesars will be providing ESPN a lot of sports wagering odds on all sorts of things for here and there for all of ESPN's content. So, yeah, it's a win-win situation for everyone.
Well, let me ask you, Jeff. I mean, is this you becoming a TV star here? What's going to happen in terms of the Caesars guys getting camera time on ESPN?
Makeup.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, never been a big fan of makeup, Dave. If any of us end up on TV, I'm sure we'll be sitting in a chair getting something put on us. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens in due time in that regard.
I would need way more than makeup at this point. A complete makeover. All right, well, and that's really good stuff. And it's really cool to see this and the speed at which it's moving. I mean, you know, a lot of us talked about something like this happening eventually, and now it's a reality. And it's just great that sports betting no longer has any level of taboo written about it.
It's 1 year since legalization, I think this week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Another big win for Caesars was Iowa saying go, because Caesars has a property in Council Bluffs, Iowa, and for those who are unfamiliar with the geography of Iowa, the property is 3 miles from the Creighton campus and an hour drive from Husker territory. So that is going to be huge in regards to the handle on the college sports there. So when all the regulations get written, that property figures to be fantastic.
Yeah, and by the way, props to the Iowa lawmakers. I'm worried with some of the states in terms of how they implement it because they might screw it up. Looks like Iowa, maybe of all the states that have legalized so far, have done the best job. I think that Iowa is going to be a real stronghold for legalized sports betting.
For sure. The tax rate is low.
Yep.
The licensing fee is reasonable, and it looks like the only types of wagers that they are going to ban will be college player props, which is pretty minimal compared to some of the other states.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody's going to argue about that. I think that it makes sense, at least at the outset.
It's a worthy trade-off.
Yep.
No question about it. But the beauty of all of this is that even with all of these other states legalizing sports betting, even with theoretically some other states at some point overtaking Nevada in handle, Las Vegas is still the epicenter of the sports betting world here in the United States. And when they're building a studio, they're building it here in Vegas. And that to me is awesome. And, kudos to you at Caesars for making that deal with ESPN. That's a heck of a deal.
I will say this. I thought Madonna coming to Caesars was big, but this is even bigger, okay? All right. Let's talk some sports and begin with the Warriors. Was this a good result last night? Because I'm trying to figure out where the betting was on this game as the Warriors dominate the Blazers in Game 1.
This Golden State and under was a dream scenario for the house. There was so much public money on Portland last night, and it was one of those weird situations. We never like deviating from the minus 110 on either side in the basketball. And last night, if we were at 7.5, the Portland money would roll in, but if we went to 7, we would get a little bit of sharper action on Golden State minus 7. So we actually hung minus 7, minus $1.15 last night, stayed there for a long time. But, yeah, it was all the public, Portland and over, and, the game couldn't have fallen any better for the house.
So the Warriors were obviously big favorites prior to this series. Now that they've, I'm going to say I don't know if they dominated Game 1. They were in control of Game 1 and dominated the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they killed them in the fourth quarter, right.
I mean, it was from a point spread outcome, start of the fourth, it was still in play. Midway through the fourth, it was no longer in play. But when it comes to the series price, how much have you adjusted Golden State between games 1 and games 2?
We actually took a lot of -$5 and -$5.50 on Golden State before last night's game. You see a lot of $8.50s and $9 out there now. We're on the high side. We're at -$9. As far as game 2 goes, we opened Golden State 8 and 218 and are still there. I've seen some of the sharper places now offering 7.5, but we haven't had any interest at all. No one's taken the 8. That generally tells me that number's probably going to come back to 8 or even go higher.
Jeff, Toronto and Milwaukee get started tonight. I think this is going to be a fun series to watch and a fun series to bet on. What's happening with the game 1 in series action?
We've had sharp action on both sides. We've kind of gone back and forth from 6 to 6.5 a couple times since we've opened. The public is on the Bucks really heavy tonight, but the sharper players are on the Raptors in the series. We took some Raptors money, plus 260 and plus 250 to win the series. Now at plus 240 on the Raptors. Toronto, we're okay there. They are our best result in the future market, and Milwaukee is not a good result in the future market, so taking a little Raptors series price seems okay for us.
And it makes sense that Toronto is the wise guy choice for the series at the big plus price, just because the Raptors have the pedigree of having been there before.
Well, and Kawhi Leonard's been there before.
Sure, he sure has. And, and you bring in guys like Marc Gasol, savvy veterans who've been around the postseason, whereas this is kind of first time around the block for Milwaukee. And at plus 250, I'm not shocked at all that we saw some wise guy support for the Raptors in the series price.
I don't think it'll change much, Jeff. As far as the series goes, I mean, obviously there'd be some adjustment, but if Milwaukee wins game 1, just a little tick up, I would think, because they're looking to hold serve here, so to speak. This could get interesting, though, in terms of what happens to the series price if Toronto can steal one of the 2 games at Milwaukee.
Yeah, if Toronto wins one of the 2 games in Milwaukee, which is surely possible.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably an even money proposition, roughly, that they win one of 2. Series price probably goes down. Milwaukee would still be the favorite, probably somewhere in the -$1.80, -$2 range, I would assume.
All right, let's go NHL. Blues, they got it done in game 2, and I had the Blues. And I got to tell you, I thought even when they were ahead early, boy, this is a game, especially, and even when it was 2-0, and then it's 2-2 in like a blink, I thought, boy, they're in trouble here. Because San Jose was looking like the better team. The Blues finding a way to win that game, pretty big. And now they're good-sized favorites in game 3 at home. I'll tell you straight out, I think San Jose will win one of these 2 games at St. Louis. I still think this is a long series. What's the betting market think?
Dave, you hit the nail on the head. San Jose for 2 periods last night was far better than St. Louis. And St. Louis was lucky to be in the game they were in, and their third period was as good of a period as they've played. They put the clamps down on San Jose. I don't think San Jose had a shot for the first 7 or 8 minutes of the third period. And, it's the proverbial stealing a game when you need to, because that game could have got out of hand, and it didn't. And, kudos to the Blues for actually winning the game. As far as the action goes tonight, all the money's on the Sharks, and I get it based on the price. Plus a quarter is readily available. In a series that figures to go long and be close, I couldn't argue with anybody that wants to bet the dog in every one of these games. It seems many of these games seem like a 50-50 proposition. We're on the high side of the market on the series price with Blues minus $1.30. It's 20 and 25 everywhere, and a lot of that goes back to what we talked about last week. The Blues Stanley Cup liability is not a good situation for us.
Well, on the other side of the bracket, of course, we've got the Bruins now in complete control over the Hurricanes, up 3-0 in the series. We've been betting the dog in that series. You haven't necessarily done all that well so far. What are we looking at for the game 4 price? And, are you even hanging a line for a lottery ticket on Carolina to win the series?
We generally stop at like minus $50 is about as high as we usually put up on these things. We didn't put it up, but I would say you're looking at about a 20-1, 22-1 rollover ticket on Carolina to come back and win the series. And frankly, I'm not sure that's possible. Last night, they were incredible in the first period, and then Teravainen missed the entire net from the right wing circle in the first shift of the game. And Boston really played well in the second period, and then late in the second period, Svechnikov had a great centering feed from the corner and had three-quarters of the net to shoot at from 5 feet and missed. And, if you're going to beat a team that's as good as the Bruins, you have to capitalize on the opportunities that you have. Carolina was definitely good enough to win last night, and frankly, I thought they were good enough to win Game 1. They didn't win either of them. This series is over. As far as Game 4, there's not a lot of action yet, and when a series gets up 3-0, those games tend to be a dead-handle game because nobody wants to bet the team down 3-0 because they think it's over, and generally speaking, you have to lay too big of a price on the team that's up 3-0. So I don't expect huge action on this one.
On the odds to win the Cup, are the Bruins now less than even money?
Yeah, the Bruins are now an odds-on favorite to win the Cup, and it makes complete sense. This team continues to defend. Rask is absolutely peaking at the right time. They're getting some depth scoring. Looking at the prices right now, we are offering Bruins minus $1.50, Blues plus $2.30, Sharks plus $3, and the Hurricanes at the bargain basement price of 50 to 1.
All right, here we go. PGA Championship tomorrow at Bethpage Black. Should be a great weekend as what is this year, and for the first time, now the second major on the calendar becomes the PGA. I think that's a great move by golf to put what was kind of the forgotten major into a more attractive slot. And this figures to be the most watched PGA in a lot of years, and therefore the most bet on because, number one, it's just the second major on the schedule, and number two, the guy coming out of the last major with a win, Tiger Woods. This is going to be a busy weekend at the Windows.
Sure is. We put up countless matchups. We got a bunch of yes-no top 20s up there. Handle has been absolutely tremendous. And this has kind of always been, you mentioned it, Dave, it's the forgotten major. It's the end of the season. The tournaments that are usually between the British Open and the PGA are usually pretty dull, and golf loses a little bit of luster after the British generally. Putting this in May is phenomenal. They picked a tremendous course, Bethpage Black, one of the nicest courses in the country. There's been 4 events that have been played at Bethpage Black as far as the PGA Tour is concerned since 2002. The 02 and the 09 U.S. Open were played there, and the 2012 and 2016 Barclays, which is the first of the FedEx Cup playoff events, were played there. So I did some digging. All 4 winners of these events have either won or finished second at an event at Quail Hollow.
Oh.
If you're looking for a correlated course. Tiger Woods and Lucas Glover won the 2 U.S. Opens. They've won at Quail Hollow. Patrick Reed and Nick Watney won the 12 and 16 Barclays. They've both finished second. And in the 16 Barclays, Sean O'Hare finished second. He's won at Quail Hollow. So there is an absolute correlation between the 2 courses, being long and straight off the tee, one of the most important things at both courses. So if you're looking for someone somewhere, I suggest looking at the leaderboard for the Wells Fargo Championship over the last 5 or 6 years, and then also the 2017 PGA Championship was played there.
So how does this set up for Tiger? Because he's not as long. I mean, it's not that he's not exactly just punching the ball down the fairway, but he's not as long as he used to be, and he's not as long as some of the really big hitters on tour. Is this not a real favorable course for him?
Now it might not be. Yeah, he won here in 2002, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He's currently, I believe, 50th or 52nd strokes gained off the tee, which is, I guess you probably would make it about field average here. And it's so important. And then you look at him just winning the Masters, what an emotional high that was. He hasn't played a competitive round of golf since. I wonder, not to use the phrase that he doesn't have a lot left in the tank, but winning the Masters must have taken so much out of him emotionally. Can he get it back? Can he get the game back to win the U.S. Open? Can he? Absolutely. But at 8 to 1, am I really backing Tiger this week? I'd say no.
So I'm confident there's a fair portion of our listening audience that is interested in the lottery ticket guys, the 40 to 1s, the 50 to 1s, the 60 to 1s. whatever you're going to find.